Welcome back to another episode of Psychonaut Sessions, your home for all things psycho. Today is Ultraverse Day. It's Thursday. How you doing, Aaron
I'm
Conaway?
doing well. Yeah, that's me. I am doing well. We need to get a little more upbeat here since we're rocking some Prototype, which we had been digging.
Yeah. I've loved Prototype up to this point. We'll see how much I like it now. It's been more than an hour since I read it, so I'm gonna have to remind myself as I'm going through. But Prototype number 3, moving through this chronology. So let's take a look here. How do we feel about the cover? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you indifferent?
Well, certainly not sad. It's another dynamic cover, but I don't know. I'm starting to taking these out as we are here. It's a point where I couldn't tell you this is Prototype number 3 without that number on the upper left corner.
Yeah,
like it's a Prototype comic. I can tell you that from the cover, but there's nothing about it that's memorable to issue 3. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but
yeah. I mean, if you had them all sitting on the stands, it would be hard to figure out which one was which.
Right.
And in a way, many of the Ultraverse covers are kind of getting that way a little bit. Not all of them.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah, if you put issues 2, 3, or 1, 2, and 3 of Prototype together, I probably issue 1 I could, but issue 2 and 3 I might have a hard time telling you what happens in which.
Yeah.
Based off the cover.
Agreed.
But otherwise, I mean, solid cover.
Yeah. Ammerman, I will say Ammerman has really picked up his game in this issue. He started in the first issue being very, I hate to use the word, I don't mean it in a negative sense, but just very amateur, very power comic-y, sort of, like maybe it was his first fledged comic, or at least very early in his game, but he's really amped up the art in this one. He's really trying hard to go all out. I'm gonna give him props for that, not just for the cover, but even in the inside.
I disagree with you on the interiors.
Okay,
we'll get there.
All right, let's have some argumentation here. I'm up for a good debate. All right, so we are in airport tarmac, or on an airport tarmac, and we've got a private plane and then a large plane sitting on the tarmac waiting to take off, and we have what's his name, Jimmy, who is the current Prototype, who really hasn't been featured a ton yet. He hasn't actually been featured. He was actually featured more in Prime, I think, than he has in this series so far.
Which they riff on that storyline here to further develop Jimmy. So yeah.
So he's just they're delayed. He's being impatient. Blah blah blah. And then we got a double splash page, which I was a little confused because I was like, wait a minute, what airplane is this taking place in? Is this in the airplane?
Yeah, I was wickedly confused for the first act of this issue.
Yeah. So this is
usually you. Usually you're the one that's more confused about stuff, but I was there this time. I was just like, wait, what? And I think part of it is the design of the issue. Like, by design, you're supposed to be a little like, wait, what? What plane, where? But I think it worked a little too well.
Yeah. So Jimmy and this other representative of Ultratech is in this small private plane, and this next page happens, and you see the guys actually going. You don't know who that is at first, but if you go back, these are the guys getting onto the large airliner.
Right.
And dude, these guys, these villains, I know that. And when I was 13, I had at least 2 or 3 villains that looked exactly like this in my repertoire of villainy. But let's just take a moment to admire this costume design here. This skeletal hand coming up from the crotch.
Yeah.
To land on the belly, like, what?
I'm not real sure what they're trying to say, but
that was a little weird.
Yeah, no, it's very weird.
Yeah.
Pterodyne Inc.
Yep. Pterodyne Incorporated. It's just, and this is another thing I was, thinking about as I read through this, and as we are going to read through our next couple of issues that we have ahead of us. All Ultraverse is just corporation versus corporation.
Right, and we've made mention of that in previous episodes where, they basically, corporation's bad.
Yeah.
That's the takeaway.
Yep. But, I mean, come on. This is not a bad splash page.
No, it's not bad. I'm just saying, like, you said that it had a power comic vibe previously and that this was better. I disagree. This still feels very power. That's not a dig, but it doesn't. It has not improved past power comic vibe for me. Certainly not this whole first act.
I think he's got some. He's got some accomplishment under his belt. There's some pretty nice perspective here. That gun feels like a real solid gun. It doesn't look like a Rob Liefeldian,
the three faces gun. Of the dudes in the right that are sitting there. Those are power comic faces.
Yeah, those are beautiful. I love that. I love it.
Again, agreed. But we've not gone past power comics, and it doesn't get any better the rest of this act.
Yeah. All right, so let's get on with the story. So apparently, these guys are baseball players on the way to the World Series.
Well, that's my first note about this is that this comic, like this, Mason and Straczewski either. I can't tell if they're baseball fans, but they're certainly knowledgeable about baseball, like how it, the celebrity of baseball anyway, and there's a lot of baseball-isms throughout this issue, and I can't tell if they're dogging on baseball or if they're just fans.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would say maybe they were just fans because I don't. Oh, I think you froze for a second.
Oh no, fans, sure, I guess, but the dialogue is kind of hackneyed throughout for me with baseballisms and in this act anyway.
Yeah.
And just weird riffs that the players go on of. Like, you have these terrorists. This dude just shot your teammate, and you're talking the weirdest conversation with him.
Yeah.
Right before you get shot.
Yeah. And so this is the shtick. So these terrorists from Pterodyne Incorporated are going to hold the baseball players hostage in the hopes of getting paid money from the team owner.
Yeah.
All right, so Jimmy and the plane next door realizes something's happening. The police is like, you guys need to evacuate the premises. Jimmy obviously wants to do something about it.
He's like, I got this, bro.
Yep. And
he's got real bro energy.
We got this like weird... I
have no idea what the hell is going on in Chicago.
Yeah, in Chicago, suddenly this guy who's on the phone with long hair, and he's just arguing with someone on the phone, and he's like, I've had enough. There's like people or something, and he just starts shooting, and this is it. This is all we know. That these three panels, I don't remember anything previous in any other issues, and I don't think there's any reference to this at all for the rest of the book.
There's not in this issue, and that's the thing. It felt... They've done this throughout Ultraverse of showing that this is a lived-in universe. There's lots of things happening. There's lots of plates spinning, but it's been done decently to great before this. This feels like, oh shit, we forgot to add a scene, and they just kind of shoehorned it in right there.
Yep. So then we go back to New York, and they are experimenting on Glaire's body or something.
Which was nice to have that be referenced again, since it got dropped completely from the end of issue 1 into issue 2 about Glaire.
So the big takeaway is that he's a wet wearer. So he was augmented by someone, I guess. And there's a reference to Aladdin. But then, of course, as to your point, the guys back at Aladdin are going to want to go to full 9 innings with this guy.
Exactly. Baseball, baseball, baseball.
Yep, for sure. All right, so Jimmy's getting suited up. The guy from Ultratech is like, no, you're not. This is blah, blah, blah. I just think this is, he's again, I think Ammerman's improving. I think he's really trying to work hard here. The colorist is working really well with him. The coloring has improved.
Rob Alford this time with color.
Yep, thank you. And the guy from Ultratech thinks, oh, see, well, we have this like fail-safe thing. That this is like really cute when people think that they know something about technology but he's got this fail-safe thing called the governor. It's the governor activates into the armor and shuts down the power grid and makes him powerless. And of course, Jimmy's been tinkering with the thing, and he like took out the governor, I guess, and is now taking off. It's a nice image there, I think. I think he's doing a good job.
All right, I will lay off so you can stop.
No. No, I want to hear your words. This is very power comic-y. So then we're getting reference to the last issue whenever the other character who was the previous prototype was attacked by Lady Deathstrike 2.0.
Right.
Backstabber.
Yeah.
And then he showed up, the end of the last issue, he showed up on his ex-wife's doorstep to receive help because he was all injured. What I want to know is what the fuck is she doing? What is she doing with his eye?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, the main, what the hell is happening here is this may be the most heavy-handed exposition dump that I've read in Ultraverse up to this point.
Yeah.
Because he literally is like, remember when we moved? And it's like, yeah, I imagine she does probably remember.
Hey, Aaron, do you remember whenever we were in Springfield and we decided to move to Kansas City together? Do you remember that?
It doesn't ring a bell. No? Could you explain further?
Do you remember when we were friends and we had this strong, close friendship? Yeah, it is very heavy-handed in exposition, for sure. And I don't know that it really matters much other than, okay, she's involved in Ultratech, I guess. She's like one of the top people. I don't know.
Or she at least was at one point. She had a relationship.
I mean, she's got a spare arm. Where else did he get that? He didn't come with a spare arm. At least it didn't look like it.
Well, yeah, but she's at her house, so why is she bringing work home? I don't know. This could lead somewhere. I don't know. It's just in the middle of this, it was and then they have the weird, we're gonna kiss, but maybe not. Your face looks kind of power comic-y, so I don't know if I can kiss you.
I always keep a spare limb of all my exes,
just in case.
Just in case they need one. They show up. Now this is what I'm talking about here.
That is dope. That's a dope.
He's really trying to push himself at least. Yes, it's very, and I want him to stay power comic-y, but he's really
no. And again, that's not a dig. I'm just speaking to what you said at the beginning, where he was growing beyond that, and I don't see that yet.
So he busts in through this is inside the airplane. Can't really tell too much, but it is. And he busts in. Starts taking out the criminals. And then the player decides to help him out and take the dude out with the bat. Best hit I've had all year.
Yeah.
And I can't even take base. Wah, wah. And then this is actually another exposition thing. So that he takes out these terrorists. The dude helps him out, and he's apparently a big time player named Buzzy West. And then this guy just decides to give him his life story,
right? For
some reason, and it's just like, make sure you do what you can when you're young, kind of thing. It was like, what? Why is this happening right now? You literally have these terrorists literally shot and injured many of you. So yeah, I don't know. And so in the midst of that, then we get this new villain show up who's apparently the leader of Teradyne, I guess. and jumps in and starts blasting.
Name's Heater.
His name is...
Which is also a baseball term.
His name is Heater, dude.
I mean, I know a heater is a heater too, but like, yeah, as far as if we're collecting baseballisms,
yeah,
check.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. So they get into a fight, of course, because just that's what people do. They just encounter and fight. And his
well, Heater came in swinging, so that makes sense that they would fight to me. Like he's Jimmy's a hothead, but he's not stupid.
yeah. Well, so there's this stuff happening with his armor. It's starting to short circuit some, and
he took the governor out.
Right.
Genius.
Yep. And then the flame starts coming down, and this is our reference to the cover where his armor is like melting a little bit, but we don't really get a full sense of that actually happening. We do get the sense that, oh man, that this is like too hot for the armor, and it's like I got to get out of this. But it doesn't look like his armor is actually melting, other than there's like one chunk out of it. That's like all I can see. That's
fair though. I didn't notice that connection to the cover, but that's true. So yeah, I guess I could probably be able to tell this is Heater's first appearance. But okay, that's fair.
Yeah, this is just I thought this was just a weird image. So the guy can melt himself into plasma almost, and I guess that's how that part of the helmet gets melted off. So it's just like one in the cover, it's like all these parts get melted, but in the actual story, it's just like one little chunk under the eye. So he apparently kidnapped the guy from Ultratech, Heater did, and had him flown overhead and dropped out of the sky, because that was his way of getting leverage up on Prototype.
So they could get away.
So Prototype captured him, and he was able to get away. So that's it. Just fun, nice little sequencing. We don't need more rune. Like, we don't need any more rune. And this was kind of weird. I have had just about enough. I do not like to lose. I guess that's his new calling card. And then he just shoots and blows up the entire plane.
Yeah.
And then they're dealing with the fallout of that at Ultratech. So apparently it's like coming on the news. They're dealing with, okay, what are we going to do with this kid? Blah, blah, blah. And this is
spin. Yeah.
Freaking crazy. This guy just throws this dude. This guy just brings him some news. He just throws him through the fucking window. That's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Everything is to the extreme in this. It looks like Emmerman's really starting to go for that like Layfieldian like mock Jim Lee style too. He's starting to do that kind. He's really leaning on that kind of like etching, inking style. Huh. And then this is the cop from before, and apparently he is contracting Wraith to go after Prototype. And I'm not Wrath, Wrath, not Wraith.
I still get initially until the next looking at the next page and seeing that it's Wrath. I still for that panel was like, oh, War Strike, so it's going to come into Mantra. Nope, that's Wrath. Son of a.
Yeah, they look so similar.
Which side by side they probably don't, because I don't think that War Strike's got all those weird metal.
Yeah, but it's the 90s superhero paradigm motif. How many like costume revamps did like even Marvel and DC characters go through where they look? Daredevil had a costume.
I was just gonna say Daredevil definitely did. Like the color scheme was a little different, but yeah, visually otherwise it looked real close to that.
This is a really good image by Ammerman. You know, the way the cityscape in the background, and it's kind of done in that sort of like 5D, like wall-eyed motif. And
yeah,
he's working hard.
Yeah,
he's working hard. And that's it. I didn't find anything.
I did. There was one interesting thing, just given where we live, that a Kansas City, Kansas native named the letter page.
Yeah, right there. Nick Williams, if you're out there, Proto hype. Good job, dude. Go KC.
Yep.
All right, so prototype number 3. So I'm not going to go through this rune stuff. No, we've been through it all multiple times. What are your thoughts? I liked 1 and 2. I'm starting to get like, okay, where's some of this stuff going? I don't really have a strong investment in any of the characters yet. If I was collecting this for me, I mean, I already have like the first 10 issues because I picked them all up. But if I was collecting this from week to week, I don't know that I would be continuing at this point. I'm not sure.
No, I would have dropped. I would have dropped after this issue.
Yeah.
Back then, just because, for a lot of reasons. But yeah, there's just not. There wouldn't have been enough to. When issue 4 came out, I would have been like, oh sweet.
Yeah.
Like that, I didn't have enough money to be buying stuff that I wasn't loving.
Yep.
And this one, yeah, I didn't. Yeah. I did have a question with the rune segment in this one though. This is a different part. But
yeah,
I didn't realize Rune was feeding on ultras from, like, that dude was on the Stranger's cable car.
Yeah.
Which we had talked about whenever we were reading Strangers, like, oh, I wonder how far they went into that 59 or however many people got powers. And it's like, well, Rune's cleaning house, so we may not, that's why we didn't get to 59 of them. But that was my only note, because, yeah, taking it this way, I can't, there's just not enough to comment on beyond Barry Windsor Smith's art, which is fine, but we've kind of covered our thoughts on his art. It's dope. And then, you know, in 4 pages, it's like, well, I can't really tell you much else of what I think of this plot because I'm not getting much of this plot.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to talk to Chrysalm and Dave, you know, just all of the godfathers of the Ultraverses. How much did all of these preludes and the marketing over Rune, how much did it actually pay off?
Right.
Because I know they paid a fortune for Barry Windsor Smith to come on board, but my God, like I don't recall Rune being like a gigantic hit or anything. And man, it's in every issue, and all these are fairly new too. It's fairly new within the Ultraverse. It's not like Ultraverse was going on for a while and we're immediately promoting Rune in almost every single issue. And
like we're complaining about with some of these titles already, they've not given us enough to be invested yet as far as things go. So we're wasting pages that we could have like fleshed out more characters for this comic.
Right, exactly. And even then, I'm still not even getting it. Like to your point, I'm not getting enough of Rune for me to be like outside of Barry Windsor Smith art,
right?
To be really interested. I just totally was like,
I was
just interested in.
Yeah, I most likely had I kept collecting all the Ultraverse stuff. I think what I probably would have done, even as a kid, was I probably wouldn't have read any of it after a point. Waited till I had all of it, and then read all the Rune stuff in one go.
Yeah.
But anyhow, yeah, Prototype 3 was to jump in on their terms here, it was a swing and a miss.
Oh, shit. Did you write that down ahead of time?
No, it just came to me. Can't you tell?
Oh, my God. Okay, well, that's Prototype 3, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, Aaron, for joining me tonight. And
my pleasure.
Hope everybody will continue. We're going to be moving on to Mantra again after this, and Strangers, and then heading into new territory with Freaks. So like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Please sign up to all of Aaron's wonderful stuff and buy his wonderful stuff as well as mine. Take it easy, keep it psycho.